the medical directors at Sinai Rehab Center, and I'm also a professor of medicine and pediatrics at Rutgers University in Newark. I also work here as an attending physician at the Israel Medical Center. So I'm very Newark inclined and Newark infused. So I call myself a medical advocate, and that's exactly what I do. And especially when it comes to advocating for health and health-related issues that concerns people of African descent. Because we are standing on a unique pedestal, and we need, that extra, advocacy, and to reach out to each and every one of us to ensure that we obtain health as it ought to be. And I'm really happy and I'm glad to be here with you all this morning with the Newark Interfaith Alliance meeting, because it's imperative that health and the spirit go together. Because just like the Bible says, without the spirit, there's no body. And without the body, there's no spirit. And both go together. So by this regard, we know that in the Bible, Jeremiah, it said, Jeremiah 30:17, it said, I will heal your body and heal you of all wounds. And that's exactly what it says. Because the Bible, as every other faith, is emphatic about health. Because it's important. Because without health, if you're not feeling healthy, you will not be sitting out here this morning. And that's a fact. And the reason why I decided to do this, and to liaise with her, and to do what we do at the Newark Sinai Community Center, because often enough, those in the health field tend to forget that if you want to really reach the community and get them to attain the good health that you ought to achieve, you need to reach out to the clergy. Because there's no other people who has the huge contact with people in the community than you all, in all sincerity. I may see 5, 10, 15, 20 patients in a day, maximum 20, 30, but at one sitting, 3 or 4 times a week, you may see 50, 60, and you have interpersonal relationship that we may not have with them. So it's important, if we want to attain the good health that we really have to, we need to begin to speak to you. We need to include you in what we do, and you also include us in what you do, because that's the only way we can actually really achieve this. Now, what have I done in the community? Like I said, I'm a community advocate, I'm a health advocate. I give speeches in churches, in mosques, talking about health and health-related issues that concerns us, and how we can advocate and achieve good health for each and every one of us. So that as probably 20, 25 of you are here, the message that you get here, you can go on to relate it to your congregation, so that they as well can attain good health. Now, in the community at Sinai, over the last 3-4 years, I've had coat and shoe drive. I call it the winter coat and shoe drive. Why did I come back to do that? Because I've been at Sinai for almost 7, 8, 10 years as a medical director. Now I noticed that every winter we have a few people who come in, young men and women, who come in with amputations because of frostbite, because they're homeless. Now when they come in and they get their leg or their hands cut off, that is huge. Because then it definitely means a 25-year-old, a 30 or 40, 50-year-old who has an amputation can no longer really function and generate income for his family and even for the community that we live in. So I decided, we need to do something about this. So I took on the mantle and said, every winter we do a coat and shoe drive. And we, collect coats from everywhere as much as I can collect, shoes, socks. And then Sinai and the directors and everybody who's there have been really very helpful. I'm sure you haven't heard about this, but that's one of the reasons why I'm here today. So that we can go on to give shoes and socks and coats to the community in winter. Because sometimes we tend to forget that. Now, other things we've actually done was a health fair, where we do health fair, carry out health fairs to the community and teach them how to take care of themselves. Because in all statistics, in all yardsticks, we fare worse than anybody else. I mean, when it comes to diabetes, the rate of diabetes in our community is on the increase. High blood pressure, cholesterol, strokes. I mean, I've been on TV. There's Dr. Omar Bey who has the Obey Your Doctor's event. I've been on his show a couple of times as well. So the essence is this. We're here as medical professionals to help you, help your congregation. But you need to also understand that we're here. We shouldn't work apart. We should work in collaboration. And collaboration is the language that we ought to begin to speak now. And collaboration means what? Putting together all your resources for a definite, obtainable, achievable effect. Where all the resources that I talk about are your what? Your time, your money, and your intellectual capacity. Now, in church, you may have the money. If you don't have, you have the time. If you don't have the time, then guess what? There are people in your congregations who have the intellectual capacity to think about ideas, to put things together in the community so that you can enforce and advocate and enhance good health. Because guess what? If you have a congregation of 5,000 people and all of a sudden somebody gets sick, 2, 3, it may spread in the community. If it comes down to 15, it hits on the bottom line as well, because nobody in a congregation wants to lose members, correct? So in as much as we say that, it's important that we begin to recognize there's a role that doctors can play, and there's also a role that clergy can play, and it's really huge. And I'm glad the mayor is taking upon this. As a matter of fact, I was actually in one of his events when he had the men's event. I represent university with a couple of other, great doctors. We came to City Hall to come talk. So we're here, and in that respect, there's a whole lot of avenues and resources that you can take advantage of. Reach out to me at any point in time. I was up until recently, I was the president of New Jersey Medical Association. Who have ever heard about New Jersey Medical Association? The Association of Black Doctors in the community who are here to serve as well. I'm sure a lot of you have never heard that they exist, but we're here. And that's one of the reasons I stood up to do all of this and push the agenda off. However, before I close, I'll tell you this. Now, in 2015, the reason I'm bringing that because it's important. Knowledge is power. Information is a huge tool to achieving that knowledge. In 2000, about sustainable developmental goals. Those are goals that are put out there by all these countries in the world to achieve good health and improve the quality of life of everybody. Now, if you take a look at the United States, look, we fare worse. People of color, we fare worse than everybody else. But these are tools and rules that have been put out there. How many of you have ever heard about the SDG? How many? Very few. But this, some of them to you, so that you know that these things do exist. And if you've never heard about it, then go back home to look about SDGs. SDGs, Sustainable Developmental Goals. 1, no poverty. Poverty in America pertains to us even worse than anybody else. 2, 0 hunger. How many kids in our neighborhood go home hungry every night? 3, good health and well-being. That's where I stand in. 4, quality education. We talk about that. Gender equality, clean water and sanitation. We know what's happening in our community, especially when it comes to water. Affordable and clean energy. Decent work and economic growth. 9, industry, innovations, and infrastructure. There are brilliant young men in our community who are smart, intelligent. But guess what? We're losing them to crime, we're losing them to jails, and we're losing them to stuff that ideally should not take place. Now, 10, reduce inequality. 11, sustainable cities and communities. We know what our cities look like. We understand those things. Responsible consumption and production. 13, climate action. Is the climate affecting how we relate with our environment? It does. Is the climate affecting how we as a people react and relate to the health and the food and the diet that we get in the community? Yes, they do. Do we know about this? Are we understanding? Are we cognizant of this? Now, 14, life below water, meaning the fishes and everything else that we do have. 15, life on earth, the quality of air that you breathe in, the quality of the food that you get from the land. Peace is 16. Peace, justice, strong institution. We understand we need to have that. And then the third one, partnership and goals. And partnership and goals is where you come in as well. Everybody should be included in this. The churches, the mosque, the community advocacy, the NGOs, or non-governmental institutions. So we need to come together, and that's why I use the word collaboration. It's important, it's imperative. So we need to be aware of what's going on and what the sustainable goal development qualities that are out there for us to take use of and make use of and have access to. So in this respect, I would say, like the Bible says in 3 John 1-2, I wish you good health and good and wellness, just as I wish that your souls and spirits prosper. Thank you.